What is your mission? I'm Nate, the FitFutureMD. I upload every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Lost 30 pounds in 30 days. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Anything I can help you with, make sure you put it down in the comments below or email me. I'm happy to help. This time of year, we got 1 month left in the year, and basically it's like a time of reflection, right? Like, the days are short. You go into work, it's dark. You leave work, it's dark. And so it gives you a lot more time to reflect on things. And so it all, whether it's personal or business related or at your job or whatever, like everything boils back to a mission, right? And I've definitely been reflecting on what I believe my mission to be, right? And some years you question, like, oh, is this really my mission? Is this really what I'm here to do? Or was it really something else? Like, especially when you come from a story like mine where I went to one college, left and went to another, graduated in something that I really found really boring, but was really good at, but it's very important. Like, my job is to protect the environment, to protect the fish right now, so and that's very important. And before the Clean Water Act, rivers and streams and stuff like that in America were just not very good, right? And they're still feeling the after effects of that, down in Wilmington, where you're putting microplastics in water, and that causes long-term health problems for people, many, many years later, because the body can't get rid of the plastic, right? So that's basically my job. My job is to protect the environment. It's very important. But, and I have the skill to do it. I can do math. I understand science. And I think when you're good at a lot of things, the possibilities are endless, right? And it's hard to figure out, where you should go, right? And but basically, like, you can't be doing everything, right? Because a lot of things can line up to your mission. Like, for instance, my mission is literally to leave everyone that I come in contact with better than when they met me, right? So that could mean anything from having manners and good character to you literally gave them a piece of stock advice that made them a millionaire. Like, it could be anything, right? So you kind of have to take steps down, that being my mission. Like, well, what do you do to make people better? Like, well, first thing you got to do is listen to the problems, right? Or ask, what problem are you having? And you don't always have an answer for them, but, I do it so much that I think people really think I'm like their therapist, right? Like, they'll come and tell me everything that's going on with them, and it's like you'll see somebody and it'll be a complete dump of, what's going on in their life, what happened to their children, whatever. And I really do think that stems from my overall mission is to leave people better than when they found me, right? Like help improve the quality of people's lives. So many people are suffering for things that, could very easily, or they're changeable things. Like you tweak this, you tweak that, and all of a sudden they're having great lives, right? And that's what I realized when I went to medical school, is that all these chronic conditions were caused by the same thing, and it was bad nutrition. And when you're in your teens and 20s and you're eating bad and you're not really seeing the side effects, like by the time you do see those side effects, it's too late. Your kidneys are already failing. You already have a fatty liver. Like your cholesterol's already clogged up your arteries. Like your blood pressure's already, causing you to have strokes. Like, and basically everything was from nutrition. And it's really interesting because most of your life you think that people are out there starving, or you need to help feed people and help clothe people, when in reality most people in America are overeating, right? Have too many calories. And it's definitely so I think that's really the first thing, and I didn't even write this down, this wasn't even on my thing, I just thought that through this process. I had to say the first thing you do in a time like this, so thinking about going to next year, how do I fulfill my mission, where you have to challenge what your beliefs are, right? And make sure that your beliefs still hold true, right? Because at one time in my life I was like, oh, everybody's starving. Like, you're seeing homeless people on the street, they're asking for money, like they need food, like, that's what you saw, that's what the news showed. But in all reality is that most of America are eating great, and you see that with, I think almost 80% of Americans under the age of 30 are overweight now, right? Like, for whatever reason. But most of it is, most of that is nutrition. There are some genetic things and stuff that make you overweight, but so I think that's the first thing, is challenge your beliefs. So another thing is just asking, when you ask people what their problems are, you have to have somewhere to send them to help them with their problems. Because what I found out is that if you haven't done something yet, people really don't respect what you're saying, right? People like to say, especially when they work for municipalities, like, oh, none of us are getting rich here, none of us are going to be millionaires. Like, well, that's not true. Like, all of us can be millionaires. It's very, very easy to be a millionaire. All it takes is time and education. What are you spending your time doing? Like, but it's coming from somebody that started out $300,000 in debt from student loans, right? And so it's just not believable. But it's like, well, what point? How much does my net worth have to be before people start believing me on that, right? Like, if you do this, this, and this for the next 5 years, you'll be a millionaire. Like, no problem. If that's your goal, right? So, some people don't want to be. Honestly, there's a lot of responsibility when you become rich. And I think the hardest part, I challenge this belief, the hardest part of being rich is realizing that you can't help everybody. That no matter how much money you get, there's still people out there that you can't help. It's like I commend what Akon has done in Africa, like, brought generators and solar panels and, internet to places that wouldn't have it, right? And talk about opening up a new world for people that, just 20 years ago were barely surviving, right? It's like the Peace Corps teaching people how to farm, right? What a noble cause, to do, when, you can give people food that are starving, or you can teach them how to make food, right? So I think, well, first of all, you can't do anything unless you're healthy, right? Everything starts with fitness, nutrition, and your health, right? You can't take care of your kids if you're not healthy. You can't build a home. You can't build a life. You can't love your wife the way you want to. If you're not healthy, then none of it matters, right? It doesn't matter if you live 100 years if 40 of those years are spent suffering, right? You still only live to 60, right? And so that's why my mantra is stay fit forever, right? We want to get to a point where we are literally at a health standard that's high enough that it looks like we're just exceptional at all ages, right? Back in the day, if you were running under a 6-minute mile, you were one of the elites, and you got Olympians, they're running 3-minute 30-second miles like it's nothing now. And it's interesting that they can push that level, right? But as far as long-term health, if you're running under a 9-minute mile, you're doing great, right? You're better than 95% of the world if you can do that. And it's interesting because you'll see fitness videos from back in the day where everybody was healthy, but it was really just access to food, right? And what you ate and the portion sizes you ate. Now you can buy all drumsticks, and everybody gets drumsticks. Or now you can buy, pre-made only dark meat chicken. Or you don't have to spend all day frying chicken, right? You can, go to the store and pre-made fried chicken, heat it up in the microwave. It's definitely different. But so that's the first thing is, to fulfill my mission, I have to be healthy, right? So that's my first concentration from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed. Eat on my nutrition plan, use progressive overload to maintain strength and muscle mass, and do cardiovascular exercise as much as possible with a goal of improving how well I'm doing in that cardiovascular exercise. So, like say I tell people to start with yoga, right? Get your joints and stuff right. So that way when they do start in the gym, they are not getting injured and quitting, right? Or they're not, even worse, you're spending $500 a month on some of these things that gyms sell to people and then not using it, right? Because you get injured or, basically because of bad fitness advice. But the first thing is health. Start with nutrition, start with yoga, and then add, progressive overload, all that kind of stuff on the back end with fitness goals. Right now my goal is to get to 10 pull-ups. My goal is to, walk 3 miles an hour, and as you progress, those goals will continue to increase, right? But you do it gradual until you get to a maintenance level. All right, so first step is health. Second step is education, right? So if you haven't, even if you're say I'm at the millionaire level, right? there's still people that are at a higher stage than I am, right? And you want to learn from their mistakes so that you're not making those mistakes, right? And you know, a lot of the business stuff is like fail faster, fail faster, fail faster. Well, I would preferably like to avoid all of your failures and then fail on other things, right? If at all possible. Like, you shouldn't be making the same failures that people were making in the 1950s. Like, you should be learning from their mistakes, you know. So that's what I call education, right? So, you know, and there are plenty of things out there that could get you to higher levels for whatever you're doing. It could be, you know, you want to learn how to cook better, you know, so you go get that education, right? Like, because honestly, a nutrition plan can get pretty bland pretty quick if you don't, you know, experiment with cooking, right? Or have a great wife that cooks vegetables really well, like #Meredith. But let's say, so this is what I've been thinking about all week. I've been thinking about, you know, this is my mission, how I really help people, like, why should people listen to me? You know, I lost 30 pounds in 30 days, so, you know, you can go check out the video on that, you know. But, you know, what's going to be, you know, long-term health is really why people are going to end up listening to me, even if they're not listening now, right? Like, 30 pounds was just the start, right? You know, and I'm going to get down and stay in the Stay Fit Forever fitness plan. And, you know, I got the free health and nutrition guide down below. Like, check that out. It's free. So even if you don't like what I say, you didn't have to spend nothing on it, right? Like, but I do that because that's step one in the mission, right? Like, you can't help people if you're not healthy, right? So, and then two, you gotta educate yourself on people that are ahead of you, right? So that, you know, it's like, oh, you turned 40 and, you know, you achieved this, and this, whereas, you know, the person you learn from were in their 60s, right? Or like Buffett's in his 80s, Charlie Munger's in his 90s, like, and everybody in the 2020, 2021 were calling them idiots. Well, they're not idiots now because they're the ones, you know, winning in this down economy, down stock market, right? So, lastly, you know, you got to push people towards investing, right? Like, the tax code is set up so that, you know, half of your labor is basically taken by the government, stolen by the government. Whereas if you invest into other people's labor, only 20% of that is taxed, right? So you keep more of your investment money when it comes back to you than you do when your actual physical labor that you do, whatever that is, right? So, you know, you definitely want to get on that side of the equation, which is mostly, you know, what I talk about, right? I talk about investing a lot, like, because that's at the stage I'm at, right? Like, I'm trying to invest, you know, like, the goal is to find good companies at a fair price, you know, and keep them long term. And then I'm going to take a little section and I'm going to try to find things like a Tesla, like a Netflix, like a Spotify, like a Shopify, things that were innovative or heck, like a Facebook, you know, things that were, you know, pretty much like not making money, but their idea is a possibility to 1,000%, 2,000%, you know. And that's how you take, you know, because my job already invests for retirement for me. You know, I have a 401k up to the match, right? So retire, you know, 15% retirement is already taken care of. So what do you do with a little bit extra? Well, a little bit extra you have a little fun with, right? Like, and you don't risk anything you're not willing to lose, like, because, you know, that's basically gambling, but you're gambling on things that you understand, right? You're not gambling on just something that's chance. It's only chance. Like, it's only chance that the ace hits and you hit 21, like, and that the dealer doesn't hit 21, right? So let's say as I'm learning stuff and as I'm going up, you know, my process is basically going to be documenting, you know, like I say, I start with, you know, problems that people, you know, give to me, you know, and I say basically what I would do if I was in those situations, right? That's because, you know, I can't directly, you know, give people advice, but I can say, oh, this is what I would do, or this is what I have done in this situation when I was in this situation, right? So I was 315 pounds. I said, look, I'm not going to live like this anymore. It's time to make a change. And I did it. I'm down 30 pounds. I got 25-ish pounds to go to get to my goal weight of 250. You know, when I get to 250, we may go down from there. You know, definitely gonna check our strength, check our speed. You know, gonna continue the healthy lifestyle that we built. You know, so that's what I'm talking about. That's why I'm the FitFutureMD, right? Like, because that's where I'm at right now, right? Eventually, I might be the millionaire future MD, right? Or the, you know, whatever. Like, as things change and progress in life, like, you know, that my advice will change and I'll grow with my audience, right? So, like I say, number one, I'm here to help you in whatever I can. Like I say, leave questions in the comments below. How can I help you? Like, you know, what's your biggest problem right now? Like, see what I can do, right? And thank you for following along. Thank you for the support. And we'll see you in the next one. Peace.